And let's bring in now host of the Rubin Report, best-selling author Dave Rubin, to discuss this. Dave, welcome in today. You know, it's interesting to watch. Obviously, a lot of people knew the impeachment inquiry would be opened. They felt like this would be coming. And now that it's here, you have the president obviously saying it's because they want to shut down the government. But even you have some Republicans saying that there may not be enough evidence, and they're talking about what more they want. I find it somewhat interesting, too, how the White House wants to control the narrative amid all of this still. What's your take on how the first, 24 hours post-inquiry opening is looking like?
Right. Well, the medium is the message. That's the phrase. So if you're going to watch CNN and MSNBC, you're going to get one version of this, which is that there's absolutely nothing here and there's nothing to see. And it's the rabid MAGA extremists going after the innocent president. If you watch more conservative media, you're going to hear a case being made, and you may agree with that case or not. I would say, look, the one question that should just be repeatedly asked every time you guys at Newsmax send somebody to talk to Karine Jean-Pierre at the White House press conference, even though she probably doesn't talk to you guys that often, the one question is, why did Hunter Biden have a job at a Ukrainian energy company making $80,000 a year when he had no experience? Did it have something to do with his dad being vice president at the time? Because that really, to me, is like the most obvious key question. And then from that, you might figure out, okay, well, it had something to do with his dad having influence, right? As vice president, his dad can have some influence over deals that we're making with the Ukrainians or with the Chinese or elsewhere. And then you can start looking at bank accounts and be like, well, wait a minute, Joe Biden's been this humble public servant.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you can then look and see, okay, there's about 20 million in the accounts, and the guy's been this humble, we're told he's this humble public servant who lives a very, moderate lifestyle, been a public servant for, about 50 years now, including the presidency, and somehow all of this money magically appeared. I'd like him to be my financial advisor.
Yeah, right. Well, they have done that. And I think it's even gone further than that. Why did he have the job? I mean, the IRS whistleblowers, even Hunter himself in that courtroom in front of Judge Noriega, said he didn't pay taxes on millions of dollars that he made from overseas. So there's obviously mounting, questions here, as you allude to just some of the low-lying fruit here. And Speaker McCarthy earlier today talked about, the Porsche he also got. So the questions are being asked, and like you said, the bank records ultimately, which this impeachment inquiry will hopefully allow them to look at. There's been a lot of stonewalling. I do want to get your reaction to yesterday, though. You talked about Karine Jean-Pierre. They had a lot of other folks up on the podium because obviously they knew this questioning could be coming. So they put John Kirby up there, National Security Council spokesman. And a reporter here had a really interesting kind of, take on him, talking about why Biden continues to also make up stories. If we're talking about, the president not being, truthful when it comes to knowing about his son's business business, what about, for example, to garner empathy? Let's listen to this exchange.
The president was deeply touched and honored to be able to spend 9/11 with military members there in Alaska and some families.
The reporter had asked, why is he making up stuff? I mean, he wasn't at 9/11 the day after. And, on top of, announcing $6 billion to Iran on the 22nd anniversary. Lots of bad form there, Dave.
Yeah, well, the reporter also basically laid out like 7 other times that Joe Biden has just made up where he is on certain dates, complete fabrications. And Kirby, I tweeted it out. It went pretty viral. It's like you can see his soul exiting his body as he's talking because he's lying, and he knows he's lying. He doesn't know why. I don't think he knows why Joe Biden consistently lies about where he was. Like, I knew, and I'm sure, Bianca, you did too, and almost everyone watching this knew, when Joe Biden the other day said while he was in Alaska that he was at 9/11, he was at the ground zero the day after 9/11. I knew, I lived in New York City at the time, I knew that moment he was making it up. I didn't even have to Google it to check where he was. And of course he wasn't. He was in D.C. Why he keeps doing this, I don't know that Kirby really knows. I mean, is it because of some sort of mental incapacitation, or he just doesn't know what's true anymore? He's been in politics for so long. You're just used to lying. But watching Kirby try to play PR professional on this, it was bad. It was bad.
It was a tough day up there on the podium. Real quick, I want to play the clip of Nancy Pelosi talking to Anderson Cooper last night on CNN, talking about Kamala Harris.
Do you think she is the best running mate, though?
She's the vice president of the United States. So people say to me, well, why isn't she doing this or that? I said, because she's the vice president. That's the job description. You don't do that much. You know.
So that's not a vote of confidence, Dave. And, you know, Pelosi's back, and she's making headlines there. Not good.
What a
for
line. She's
Kamala.
the vice president. She doesn't do that much.
anything.
Man, a lot of people would like that job. Look, I think it's clear what's going on here, which is that there is a fear now growing amongst the Democrats, either because of the impeachment inquiry or just Biden's general state of being, that he may not be the nominee now. But they know if that's the case, they have a much bigger problem, which is Kamala Harris, who has virtually no support in the party, either when she was running for president or even now as the vice president. And they have to figure out the trick on how you're going to get somebody else in. God forbid Gavin Newsom, or knowing, they always go for someone worse. So God only knows. But you can see her sort of tease it out like, oh, Kamala, she doesn't really do anything. So they're trying to figure out a way to show her the exit.
Yeah, the calls are definitely getting louder. Dave, good to see you. We'll see you back here next week. Always enjoy it.
See you soon.